Do you ever find yourself reaching for that delicious leftover from yesterday's dinner? Thinking you're being smart, saving time, or just enjoying a second helping of something wonderful? It's a habit many of us have. A comfort. A way to stretch a meal. But what if I told you that some of those seemingly innocent reheated dishes could actually be silently working against your health, potentially causing more harm than good? It's a painful reality that convenience can sometimes mask a hidden danger, especially as our bodies change and become a little more sensitive with age. Our immune systems might not be as robust as they once were, and what might have been fine in our younger years could now pose a real risk. You see? It's not just about heating something until it's warm. It's about understanding the silent chemical and bacterial changes that can occur. In this video, we're going to dive deep into 5 common foods that, when reheated incorrectly, can go from nutritious to problematic, turning a simple meal into something that could truly upset your system, or even, in severe cases, lead to illness. We'll uncover the surprising truths behind these everyday kitchen practices and give you simple, actionable ways to stay safe. So, pull up a chair, get comfortable, and make sure you watch right to the very end, because I promise there's something waiting for you that will genuinely surprise you and fundamentally change the way you think about leftovers. Let's begin our journey into safer eating habits by looking at a staple in so many homes across the world: rice. Oh, how we love our rice. Whether it's a fluffy side dish, part of a hearty casserole, or the base for a stir-fry, it's often made in larger batches, and the leftovers seem like a perfect plan for tomorrow's lunch. But here's where we need to be incredibly careful. Rice, you see, harbors a tiny, invisible threat, a spore-forming bacterium called Bacillus cereus. Now, these spores are incredibly hardy, so much so that they can actually survive the initial cooking process. They're built to withstand heat, just waiting for their moment. The real danger arises when cooked rice is left to cool slowly at room temperature. This warm, moist environment is exactly what these dormant spores need to wake up and multiply, producing toxins that, unlike the bacteria themselves, are heat-resistant. This means that even if you thoroughly reheat your rice until it's steaming hot, those toxins can remain, ready to cause you serious trouble. For us, as we get a little older, our digestive systems can become more sensitive, and our immune responses aren't quite as robust as they once were. A bout of food poisoning from Bacillus cereus can lead to severe vomiting and diarrhea, rapid dehydration, and a general feeling of misery that can take days, sometimes even longer, to shake off. It's not just an inconvenience. It can be a significant health setback. So, how do we outsmart this invisible enemy? The key is rapid cooling and proper storage. After you've cooked your rice, if you have any leftovers you intend to keep, make sure you cool it down as quickly as possible. Don't leave it on the counter for hours. Spread it out on a shallow tray or plate to maximize surface area and allow the heat to escape rapidly, ideally within an hour. Once it's cool, get it into the refrigerator promptly when you do reheat it. And this is crucial. Only reheat it once. Make absolutely sure it's piping hot all the way through, steaming vigorously, if you're ever in doubt. Or if the rice has been sitting out for more than an hour at room temperature, it's truly best to simply discard it. It's far better to be safe than sorry, especially when we consider the potential for severe discomfort and health complications. Sometimes, cooking a fresh, smaller portion for each meal is the safest and healthiest choice, avoiding the entire issue of reheating. Think of it like a ticking time bomb. Once it starts cooling slowly, that clock begins to tick. Now, let's turn our attention to another popular leftover that often finds its way into our reheating routines: chicken. Or any poultry for that matter. Chicken is a fantastic source of protein, versatile and delicious, but it also carries its own set of potential risks when it comes to reheating. The primary concern here revolves around bacteria, like Salmonella and Campylobacter. These unwelcome guests are commonly found on raw chicken and, while thorough initial cooking usually takes care of them. The problem often arises in the reheating process if not done correctly. When you reheat chicken, especially larger pieces or entire roasted birds, it's incredibly difficult to ensure that the internal temperature reaches a safe level throughout the entire piece. You might find the outside piping hot, but the core could still be dangerously cool, creating a perfect haven for any surviving bacteria to multiply. And for us, an encounter with Salmonella or Campylobacter can be far more serious than just an upset stomach. It can lead to severe diarrhea, fever, abdominal cramps, and in vulnerable populations like ours, it can even progress to more serious infections, sometimes requiring hospitalization. Beyond the bacterial risk, reheating chicken can also alter its protein structure, making it tougher and potentially harder for our digestive systems to break down and absorb nutrients efficiently, leading to feelings of sluggishness or indigestion. So, what's the golden rule for reheating chicken safely always? And I mean always, reheat it to an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 74 degrees Celsius. The best way to ensure this is by using a food thermometer, inserting it into the thickest part of the meat. Don't guess. If you're reheating a large piece, consider cutting it into smaller portions to allow for more even heating. Just like with rice, you should only reheat chicken once. If you've already reheated it and then have leftovers from that second round, it's best to let them go. When you store leftover chicken, make sure it goes into the refrigerator quickly after the initial meal, ideally within an hour or two, and consume it within 1 to 2 days. If the texture seems off, or there's any suspicious smell, trust your instincts and discard it. Sometimes, adding a little broth or gravy can help keep the chicken moist during reheating, which aids in more even temperature distribution and prevents it from becoming dry and unappetizing. We want our meals to be nourishing and enjoyable, not a source of worry. Preparing chicken safely means we can enjoy its benefits without the hidden risks. Now that we've discussed the tricky business of reheating rice and chicken safely, let's move on to some other surprisingly problematic foods that often find their way back onto our plates, sometimes to our detriment. Now, let's turn our attention to the humble potato. Oh, the versatility of potatoes: mashed, baked, roasted, fried. They're a staple comfort food. However, when it comes to reheating, especially a certain type of cooked potato, there's a serious, albeit rare, danger. We need to discuss Clostridium botulinum. This is the bacterium responsible for botulism, a severe form of food poisoning that attacks the nervous system. While it's uncommon, it is incredibly serious and potentially fatal, especially for older adults whose bodies might struggle to fight off such a potent toxin. The particular scenario that often leads to this risk with potatoes is when they are baked, especially if wrapped tightly in aluminum foil and then left to cool slowly at room temperature. The foil creates an oxygen-free, or anaerobic, environment that is absolutely ideal for Clostridium botulinum to thrive and produce its deadly toxin. Unlike many bacteria, the problem isn't the bacteria itself multiplying and making you sick, but the toxin it produces. And this toxin, sadly, isn't destroyed by reheating. So, even if you pop that leftover baked potato back in the oven and get it sizzling hot, the toxin could still be present, ready to cause harm. Symptoms of botulism can include difficulty swallowing, blurred vision, muscle weakness, and even paralysis. It's truly a situation we want to avoid at all costs. So, what's the wise way to handle cooked potatoes if you bake a potato, especially wrapped in foil? Remove it from the foil as soon as it's cooked. Don't leave it wrapped up to cool slowly on the counter. If you have leftovers, cool them rapidly. Again, spread them out to help them cool faster, and get them into the refrigerator promptly. And absolutely, under no circumstances should you ever store cooked potatoes at room temperature for an extended period, particularly if they're still wrapped. While you can technically reheat refrigerated potatoes thoroughly, the main takeaway here is preventing the toxin from forming in the first place. If there's any doubt about how long a cooked potato has been sitting out, especially if it was wrapped, it is always safer to simply discard it. Your health is far too precious to take such a risk. This might mean making smaller batches or being extra diligent with storage. But it's a small price to pay for peace of mind and safety. Moving on. Let's talk about leafy green vegetables, specifically spinach. We're often told to eat our greens, and for good reason. They're packed with vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Spinach, in particular, is a nutritional powerhouse. However, when it comes to reheating cooked spinach, we need to exercise caution. Spinach, along with other leafy greens like celery or beetroot, naturally contains high levels of nitrates. While nitrates themselves aren't inherently harmful, the problem arises when cooked spinach is left to cool slowly or is reheated. During these processes, the nitrates can convert into nitrites, and under certain conditions, these nitrites can then further transform into something called nitrosamines. For us, as we age, our bodies can be more sensitive to these changes. Nitrites, in particular, can be problematic because they can interfere with the blood's ability to carry oxygen, potentially leading to a condition called methemoglobinemia, which can be particularly concerning for anyone with existing heart or lung conditions. While this is more commonly talked about in infants, our aging systems can also be more vulnerable. Furthermore, some studies suggest that nitrosamines could have carcinogenic properties, meaning they might increase the risk of certain cancers over time. It's certainly not something we want to be introducing into our bodies unnecessarily. So, what's the best approach with cooked spinach? Ideally, spinach and other high-nitrate greens are best enjoyed immediately after they're cooked. If you do have leftovers, cool them very rapidly and refrigerate them. However, the general consensus among food safety experts is to avoid reheating cooked spinach altogether if possible. It's much safer to cook only the amount you plan to eat in one sitting. If you absolutely must reheat it, do so quickly and ensure it's piping hot. But honestly, the wisest choice is to simply make a fresh batch for your meal. Think of it this way: fresh greens are a gift to your body, but old, reheated ones might carry an unwelcome baggage. Let's keep our healthy choices truly healthy. Finally, let's consider mushrooms. Whether you love them sliced in a stir-fry, sautéed with garlic, or as part of a creamy sauce, mushrooms add a wonderful depth of flavor and a host of nutrients to our meals. They are, however, quite delicate and have a unique composition that makes them tricky when it comes to reheating. Mushrooms are largely made up of proteins and water, and these proteins can begin to break down quite rapidly after they're cooked, especially if they're not stored properly. When these proteins degrade, they can form substances that might not necessarily be toxic in the most severe sense, but they can certainly lead to significant gastrointestinal upset, including bloating, gas, nausea, and diarrhea. For us, digestive comfort is key to overall well-being, and we certainly don't want to invite unnecessary discomfort after a meal. Furthermore, mushrooms are prone to bacterial growth just like any other perishable food, and their spongy texture can sometimes make them tricky to reheat thoroughly and evenly. So, what's the secret to enjoying mushrooms safely, even as leftovers? The golden rule is to eat them immediately after cooking. Fresh is truly best with mushrooms. If you do have leftovers, it's crucial to cool them down very quickly and then refrigerate them promptly. They should ideally be consumed within 24 hours of their initial cooking when you reheat them. And again, only do this once. Make sure they are thoroughly heated all the way through, steaming hot. If the mushrooms appear slimy, have an off color, or smell even slightly unusual, it's a clear sign that they've gone past their prime and should be discarded without hesitation. Sometimes, the safest and simplest solution is to just add fresh mushrooms to a dish when you're reheating the main component, rather than trying to salvage the previously cooked ones. It's a small adjustment that can make a big difference in avoiding an uncomfortable evening. Now that we've delved into the specific concerns surrounding potatoes, leafy greens like spinach, and mushrooms, understanding how to handle each of these beloved foods safely Let's bring all this valuable information together and empower ourselves with practical strategies for a healthier kitchen and a happier life. We've covered quite a journey together today, exploring how some everyday kitchen habits, particularly with leftovers, can subtly impact our health, especially as we navigate our golden years. We started by uncovering the hidden risks associated with reheating rice, where those resilient Bacillus cereus spores can turn a simple meal into a source of nasty toxins if not cooled and stored quickly. Then, we talked about chicken and other poultry, emphasizing the critical need for thorough reheating to a safe internal temperature to avoid nasty bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter, and the importance of only reheating at once to maintain safety and digestibility. Our discussion then moved to the surprising dangers of potatoes, particularly when they're left wrapped after baking, creating a perfect breeding ground for the extremely dangerous Clostridium botulinum toxin, a silent threat that reheating simply cannot eliminate. We also looked at the vibrant green goodness of spinach and other leafy greens, understanding how their natural nitrates can transform into less desirable compounds upon reheating, making fresh consumption the wisest choice to protect our oxygen-carrying blood and avoid potential long-term issues. And finally, we just explored how even the beloved mushroom, with its delicate proteins, can become a source of digestive upset if not consumed promptly or handled with extreme care when considering a second serving. Now, I know this might feel like a lot to take in, perhaps even a little daunting, but please, I want to reassure you that the purpose of sharing this knowledge isn't to scare you or to make your kitchen a place of constant worry. Quite the opposite. It's about empowering you with vital information, allowing you to make small, informed changes that can have a genuinely profound and positive impact on your health, your comfort, and your overall well-being. Think of these insights not as restrictions, but as tools that allow you to savor your meals with greater confidence and peace of mind. You're not poisoning your body if you've made these mistakes in the past. You're simply learning and evolving in your approach to health, just like we all are. Every day is a chance to make better choices, armed with better understanding. Remember, our bodies are incredible, resilient machines, but as we age, they deserve a little extra care and attention, paying mind to how we prepare, store, and reheat our food is just one of those vital layers of self-care. It's about building a foundation of healthy habits that supports us in feeling our best, day in and day out. It's about minimizing those sneaky risks that can lead to discomfort, illness, or even more serious health challenges that nobody wants to face. These seemingly small adjustments, cooling rice rapidly, ensuring chicken is piping hot all the way through, never leaving wrapped potatoes out, choosing fresh greens, and enjoying mushrooms. Right away, these are not huge sacrifices. They are simple, practical steps that you can implement in your kitchen starting today. Imagine the peace of mind knowing that every meal you prepare and enjoy is working for your body, not against it. Imagine feeling more energetic, avoiding those unexpected digestive upsets, and simply enjoying life without the lingering worry of what might be lurking in your leftovers. That's the true power of knowledge and conscious choices. Your experiences and insights are incredibly valuable to me and to our entire community here. So, I would absolutely love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you ever experienced a bad reaction to reheated food? Do you have your own tips for safe food handling that you'd like to share with fellow viewers? Perhaps you have a specific question about one of the foods we discussed. Or maybe you just want to share how this information has made you rethink your approach to meal prep. Your comments not only help me understand what resonates with you, but they also create a wonderful space for all of us to learn from each other and support one another on this journey toward healthier living. We're a community, and every voice matters. If you found this video helpful, if it sparked a new idea, or if it simply offered you some peace of mind, please do me a huge favor and give it a big thumbs up. That simple click truly helps this information reach more people who could benefit from it. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel By subscribing, you'll join our growing family, and you'll be notified every time we release new content packed with practical advice, inspiring ideas, and gentle reminders to help you live your fullest, happiest, and healthiest life at every age. We're here to walk alongside you, offering guidance and encouragement every step of the way. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember, your health is your most precious asset. Take care of yourself, cherish every moment, and keep embracing new knowledge that empowers you. Live your best life at every age. You truly deserve it.